All right. So assignment 7, so we're shifting from assignment 6, we're shifting to assignment 7. Here it is. Now, basically, we want to create another class which we can use in this sort of like shape or form. Let me go to my project here and do some modifications here. So I'll say roll once, something like that. You read the homework assignment. But the idea here is that you can also roll the series. So do multiple rolls. And it will ask you like how many, how long the series of rolls should be, and you say 5 or 10 or 100. And it's going to execute the roll of dice that many times and will display the result. That's the idea. But to handle the roll series, the homework proposes that we create the dice roller class, add to our application, which is solely responsible for handling this series of rolls. And this dice roller application is actually the proposition is that what we do is that we use an array to store the results of our rolls. So let's read this. Create an array of all possible combinations between min and max. This array should be a private member of dice roller class. And then for a traditional 6-sided dice, the array should have enough space to hold the entries for each possible combination between 1 plus 1 and 6 plus 6. So this is to keep the statistics of our roll. Basically, what I am looking for is this, and we'll talk about the arrays in a second. But let me go back to my drawing here. So the idea of this homework is that if we execute a series of rolls, what should be happening is that each roll will be, the result of the roll of a pair of dice, right? 1 and 2, 3 and 5, and so forth. So the idea is this: to create an array of numbers, an array of integers, right here, an array of integers, and every time there is a roll, let's say the sum here was 7, the sum over here was 3, right? The sum of another roll was the total number is 2, like 1 and 1, and so forth. So in this case, if we basically say, all right, we execute the series of rolls, say 100 times, and 50 times a 7 was produced as a result of the series of rolls. So we would like to keep the statistics of the maximum number is 12, right? 6 and 6 is 12. The minimum number is 2. The minimum number is 2, like 1 and 1. And so if somewhere here 12 is rolled, right, pair of 6 and 6, then increment this number. And so if in the end like 12 rolled maybe 5 times, make sure that we store number 5 over here as the statistical indicator how many times a combination of 12 was rolled. If 7 was rolled 50 times, then the number, arguably, the number that corresponds to the combination of 7 should be indicating 50. And then we can print this array on the screen and demonstrate what the statistics were for this particular roll. So that's the idea of this homework, to take our pair of dice to the next level. So we ask the user how many times you want to roll. Let's roll, and let's create statistical information about that roll. So what's left here is that we need to bring up the topic of arrays. So, in keeping in mind that we have this challenge in our next homework, is that we will have not a single integer, but we will have an array of integers, and based on the outcome of each row, we would like to keep the statistics indicators in this array. And so we'll just perhaps do some demo code with this stuff. So let's talk about arrays, keeping in mind that our next challenge, which is directly related to this homework. All right, so I have a project here which uses this menu. So let me see, roll once, roll series, okay, and exit. So I'll just keep this menu. But I will, on top of this code, I would like to demonstrate an array. By the way, we've seen arrays a long time already. For example, command arguments. If this Java code is invoked on the command line, each command argument separated by white space is passed to us in form of array of strings. So finally, we're kind of getting closer to this particular part. So if I want to have an array of 3 strings, and I will name it 3 strings. Kind of silly name. This is what you need to do. You need to say new string, and you specify how many. That's the way the array of strings is created. So this particular statement here is a declaration of a variable. Which variable? The variable named 3 strings. Now, if you'd like to, typically, if I had a string name equals Joe, something like that, this is also an example of declaration. But this is not a declaration of an array, it's a declaration of a string. String object will be created and immediately initialized to Joe. All right, that's fine. In case of an array, what you get is that when you create an array is sort of like a type modifier on this declaration. We're saying here 3 strings is an array of strings. This is how you interpret this declaration. And then an array in itself is a class in Java. Not a primitive type, but yet another class just like a string object. String object is not a primitive data type such as integer, rather it's an object defined by the string class. So array is also a class in Java. So let's demonstrate this. So when this code executes, what happens is that name, right? This name is a variable which is a reference to an object of the string type. So somewhere here in memory, I do get my string, and name is a reference to this object in memory. So then I can use this reference to talk to my object, find where it is, invoke its methods, and do things to my string. So this is the situation with the string. But when I create an array of 3 strings, the following happens. So here, I'll abbreviate this to TS, right? 3 strings. When I create this object, what happens is that it gets allocated, as always. Array is an object. It gets created. And its size will be 3, right? This is the size of an array. It's specified with this square bracket syntax in this type of initializer, new string. So new string, square brackets, and you might think that this looks like 3 different strings are created. This is a wrong assumption. What happens is that an array of 3 references to string is created. Basically, recall that demonstration with a single string, not an array, was this. We have a reference to a string in memory. What happens when we create new string 3? An array of 3 references to strings is created, but no actual strings are created. It is our responsibility to do something like this. 3 strings, element 0, say, 1. And then 3 strings 2 equals 2. And 3 strings 3 equals 3. This is a huge difference between a single string and the array of strings when we create an array of strings this way. Because what happens is that when we say new array of 3 strings, no actual string objects are created. Only when you go to individual elements here, which are, by the way, indexed as 0, 1, and 2, only then when we say, okay, let this string reference point to a string that says 1, then the actual object is created. Then string that says 2, right? So this is a real string which is being created. Then it does get created right here, and another one. And I desperately need to save this because I'm already 12 minutes into this recording.